Hey guys, it's Yvette, and I am back with a book review for Carry On, which is Simon Snow #1 by Rainbow Rowell. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with Rainbow Rowell, but she writes YA books, that's young adult books. And it's so funny, we're reading this book for book club, and this all started when we read other books by Rainbow Rowell. At least I think we did. I know I have. I've written all her books. I've read a few of her books, and this book you would have heard about if you watched or if you read. Should I start over? If you read Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, you would have heard about Simon Snow, because Simon Snow is like this popular character in a book that everybody reads in that story, right? And so it's very interesting because this whole book is mainly about the book that they talk about in Fangirl. Okay, so in Fangirl, everyone's a fan of Simon Snow. And Carry On is a book about Simon Snow. So I started this book and I'm thinking, okay, it's required reading. It's assigned reading, so I have to read it. And the funny thing is, I had actually bought this book like 3 years ago and I never read it. So I started reading it. And let me go ahead and read the synopsis for you. If you really don't need to have read Fangirl in order to enjoy this book. It is, there's nothing, they don't talk about Fangirl at all. This is strictly about Simon Snow, who was a fictional character in Fangirl. So here's the synopsis of Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. Simon Snow is the worst chosen one who's ever been chosen. That's what his roommate Baz says. And Baz might be evil and a vampire and a complete git, but he's probably right. Half the time, Simon can't even make his wand work, and the other half, he starts something on fire. His mentor's avoiding him, his girlfriend broke up with him, and there's a magic-eating monster running around wearing Simon's face. Baz would be having a field day with all this, if he were here. It's their last year at the Watford School of Magicks, and Simon's infuriating nemesis didn't even bother to show up. Carry On, The Rise and Fall of Simon Snow, is a ghost story, a love story, and a mystery. It has just as much kissing and talking as you'd expect from a Rainbow Rowell story, but far, far more monsters. Okay, so about this book. Things that, okay, I actually would recommend this book. It's funny because, like, I've read every single Harry Potter book at least 3 times, right? Like, the first 3 or 4 books I've probably read like 10 times. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, and all I kept thinking about while I was listening to this book is that it was like the poor man's version of Harry Potter. That's basically what it felt like for probably the first, I don't know, several chapters really, because every single thing they would say, you were just going, Harry Potter, Harry Potter, Harry Potter, Harry Potter, Harry Potter. And then suddenly, like, the story sort of got good. Like, I ended up giving this book 3 stars out of 5. Because while really I ended up, there was so much of it where you were going, poor man's Harry Potter. That's just a term I'm using, but it was funny, guys. It's almost like, I'd love to know when Harry Potter was written. I didn't look up any of this stuff yet. So, I mean, it was all in my head and I've been thinking I need to do it, but I haven't done it yet. But I would love to know, when was Harry Potter written and when was this story about Simon Snow written? Because it almost feels like there was a bit of tongue-in-cheek stuff going on with Simon Snow where, where it was just, they knew that the stories were sort of like coinciding in some way, but you know, they made fun of it, sort of. So I did think in the end that it was a good story. Like, it was, I love young adult fiction. This book had, you know, kissing, but there was no like sex or anything like that. There was some bad language, but not all that much. I'm trying to think, but I do think that they used the F word like maybe 2 or 3 times. This book is British. She's British. It's read, because like I said, I listened to it. It was read by a British person. And there was something about all of that that just made it, again, Harry Potter, right? But I thought it was, I did think it was good, overall. And I liked the story. Here's the thing. If you are, and I'm trying to think of a very nice way to say this without offending anyone, please don't be offended. I know, you know, because really that's not my intention. But if you are in any way homophobic, don't read this book, because Harry Potter and Simon Snow are very different in that regard. Okay, so there are like homosexual relationships in the book. And if that's something you're sensitive to, you know, you don't have to answer to me. Just be honest with yourself and just don't read it, because I don't want you, I mean, it's going to take away from the story if you're going to be so distracted by that, that you can't properly enjoy it. So there is a little bit of that in there. Well, there's quite a lot of that actually, because it's, you know, it's, yeah. If you read Fangirl, you know it already. So it's not like I have to tell you any of that. But if you're interested in that kind of story, if you're interested in young adult and, you know, that wizarding, magical world, then you will enjoy this. I thought it was pretty good. Glad we read it for book club. And what else could I say? I just think it was so funny because, like, they don't say muggle, they say normals. I mean, it's like, you know, all these things where it's like you're listening to, and the other thing is that their spells, you know how like with Harry Potter, it's like some sort of nonsensical word that, or phrase or whatever that they'll put together for their spells. Well, for Simon Snow, it's more like song lyrics or like just, you know, anecdotal sayings and stuff. And it's just, it's so funny. I just think that the book is good because it's sort of laughing at itself. But at the same time, it's just enjoyable. So anyway, I do recommend it as long as you agree with all those things that I said. And I will, you know what? Here's the other thing I was going to tell you. Because that's the last book I read. And then right now, I'm like 1 chapter away from finishing Where the Crawdads Sing. And that is by Delia Owens. And if you go, I don't know if it's just on Audible or if it's everywhere, but Reese Witherspoon has got this recommended book of the month club that she's doing. I don't know if it's just on Audible, maybe so. But she had recommended this book for September, I think. And I thought, you know, I've been kind of looking for something to read. I want to read something a little different. Well, listen to something a little different. And so I am almost done with it. I thought I was going to be able to finish today. I was so excited. So I will be giving that review quite soon. And I'll let you know what I think. So I'll talk to you later. Bye!